Today, Russian tanks panic, blow up their own tank comrades at close range during an ambush in Kyiv. The moment a Russian tank appears to blast another Russian armored vehicle from yards away in an apparent friendly fire incident has been caught on video. The video by a Ukrainian drone seems to show Russian troops and armor around the village of Dmytrivka just to the west of Kyiv as they were preparing to pull out from their stalled assault on the Ukrainian capital. The ambush is then sprung as a litany of blasts and explosions strike the bunched-up Russian tanks from what are thought to be Ukrainian drones and artillery. Previous versions of the video, which was filmed by a loitering drone on March 31, had been unclear, but a new, higher-quality version makes the Russian tanks clearly identifiable by their distinctive V markings. In the ensuing panic and chaos, a tank with the V markings can be seen in a friendly fire incident blasting its main cannon at another tank with the same markings from nearly point-blank range. It has been speculated that this might have been an intentional act if the tank had been disabled, to render it useless for Ukrainian forces that might capture it. A count of Russian losses suggests the Ukrainian ambush hit 7 BMP-2 and 1-2 Bermudian dollars infantry fighting vehicles, plus 6 T-72 main battle tanks, with 8 soldiers killed in action. The Ukrainians struck as Russian forces were beating a retreat from Kyiv and the north of Ukraine, with the Kremlin seeming to acknowledge the failure of their efforts to capture Kyiv and topple the Ukrainian government 5 weeks after the initial invasion. It is now thought that Putin is replenishing and massing his forces in the east of Ukraine in order to be able to score a battlefield win in the Donbass and claim a face-saving triumph in time for Victory Day on May 9, when Russia celebrates its defeat of Nazi Germany in the Second World War. The Russian repositioning of its forces away from towns and villages around Kyiv to the east of Ukraine has permitted allegations of war crimes committed by Russian troops to come to light. Ukrainian prosecutors are investigating civilian massacres in northwestern suburbs such as Bucha, Makariv and Borodyanka, but the Prosecutor General's office said Tuesday it was also looking into events in the Brovary district, which lies to the northeast. Ukraine and Western leaders have in recent days accused Russian forces of committing atrocities against civilians in devastated areas around Kyiv that were under occupation, with Bucha proving to be the site of the most egregious examples of war crimes thus far. Ukrainian authorities say over 1,200 bodies have been found in the area and that they are weighing cases against 500 suspects, including Russian President Vladimir Putin and other top officials. On Monday, the work of exhuming bodies from a mass grave in a churchyard in Bucha resumed after more than 400 dead civilians were discovered. The majority had been gunned down. President Joe Biden took a strong line, accusing Russia of carrying out a genocide, saying Vladimir Putin is trying to wipe out the idea of even being a Ukrainian. Yes, I called it genocide, he told reporters in Iowa on Tuesday, as he said he would let the lawyers decide. He added, "It's become clearer and clearer that Putin is just trying to wipe out the idea of even being a Ukrainian." Meanwhile, Austrian Chancellor Karl Nehammer on Monday said he was rather pessimistic about the chances of diplomacy after being the first European leader to visit Russian President Vladimir Putin since the start of Moscow's military campaign in Ukraine. Describing Putin as having massively entered into a logic of war, Nehammer told reporters, "If you're asking me whether I am optimistic or pessimistic, I'm rather pessimistic. Peace talks are always very time-intensive while military logic says, don't spend too much time and go directly into battle," he added. However, he said he spoke to European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz after the meeting and said he had impressed on them the need for more such meetings to directly express European outrage at Russia's actions. While Nehammer said there was very little interest on the Russian side in a direct meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, he said the one glimmer of hope was Putin's continued interest in the Istanbul peace talks. In an earlier statement, Nehammer had said his meeting between the two men, which took place at Putin's residence outside Moscow, was not a visit of friendship. Nehammer described the conversation as direct, open and hard. The Austrian government had requested the meeting be held behind closed doors with no joint pictures or statements from the two leaders. I mentioned the serious war crimes in Bucha and other locations and stressed that all those responsible have to be brought to justice, Nehammer said. Russia denies its forces have committed war crimes.